Hey, my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I like to start off every day with a fresh, hot, black cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. And of course, I think of my favorite quote of the century by Oscar Wilde, which says, "Life is too important to be taken seriously. So lighten up, folks." So today's topic is, drumroll please, Life of an Actor, Part 4. Okay, so when we last left, let's backtrack. Part 2, I spoke about Tu Wong Fu, and then part 3 was Stonewall. So I was on this really great roll, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. So then the very next thing that I did, which was kind of like funny, was I went from like these two principal parts, and then I signed up with Sylvia Faye Casting, who was like the big casting agent at the time. And so then Lee was like, "Oh, do you want to work on Law and Order?" And it was background work. Uh, and I had never really done background work. So I was like, okay. So I was living on the Upper West Side on 75th in Amsterdam. And we were filming in my neighborhood. So I was like, oh, how great is that? So Holden was just a couple of blocks away. But then it was such a slap of reality when all of a sudden I was like not dressed in drag, and I was uh, dressed as like nondescript pedestrian, and like they basically had us like in the far background, like crossing the street. And I remember thinking, oh my Lord, like what happened? Because I had just done these two really great gigs. And then, then I was doing background. But you know what? I don't poo poo it. I still do background work, when the opportunity comes up and if I'm in the mood. So uh, it's all still at least part of the whole equation, and you are on a creative set. So, but it's just kind of funny because, it was like such a high, and then suddenly I was doing that. So, and then so that would have been like around 94. And then about a year or two before that, I had started working retail. So I was working at Bloomingdale's. I was a retail queen for like 25 years. And when you work in the cosmetic and fragrance industry, it's very easy to get comfortable making that kind of money because, we get compensated well. So like the next few years, like I was still kind of like doing background work, and I was still doing my massages, but I was very much focused on the retail world. And that was like my main bread and butter. And I was like freelancing, working as like a resident makeup artist. Like, I was working for everyone. But then fast forward 1997, I was working for Jean-Paul Gaultier Issey Miyake, and I was the business manager. And it was not like a very pleasant experience. And my direct boss, my account executive, was not nice. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I need to get out of here. So either like leave the company or like get back into acting. So I'll never ever forget, it was Christmas of 1997. So, and I kept saying, let me get through the holiday season. I kept saying, come January 31st, something has to happen. Either I switch companies or get back to acting. And, you guys know that I believe in like willing things to happen and like putting it out there in the universe, but you have to say the words. So I kept saying the words out loud. Now, I should mention that prior to that, the show Oz, I had worked the first season a couple of days on the set, and it was through Sylvia Faye's office, and Lee was like, "Oh, this new show, and it's a prison show, and you would be on as a boy toy." So I said, "All right." So I went, I did it. Like they put me in like kind of like makeup, but like no lashes, but that first season, I remember was like so. I don't want to say scary, but the characters were so true to life, it seemed. And I just remember the couple of days that I worked. I don't want to say that it wasn't a fun experience, but it was a little scary, I guess. And I just remember thinking when I finished those couple of days, I was like, oh, thank God that's over. I didn't think anything of it. So that was 1997. So then that Christmas happened. So then, and remember, I kept saying, come January 31st, something has to happen. And then all of a sudden, January 31st, Lee calls me from Sylvia's office. And he's like, James, remember that show that you worked on last year, a couple of days, Oz? And I remember thinking, yeah. And he was like, well, they're doing this whole thing now where like season 2, it's going to be like specific gang members in Emerald City. So you want a regular part on it, you would probably be on the whole season. You'd be a member of the gay gang specifically playing the resident tranny. And I was like, and I'll never ever forget, it was a Thursday and he said to me, your fitting is tomorrow, you start Monday. And remember, I had been saying I need to leave this company. And it just so happened that I had 2 weeks vacation coming up. So then I said to him, I said, do me a favor. I know I'm going to say yes, but I'm a little bit in shock right now. Please don't give the part away. Give me 5 minutes. I will call him right back. So he was like, great. So I hang up the phone and I was like at work at Bloomingdale's and my dear friends were around me. And I was like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened. And they all knew like how miserable I was and how much I needed to like get out of that situation. So of course I called him back 5 minutes later and I was like, great. I'll take it. So I had my fitting the next day. And then it just so happened that like the first couple of weeks, like we weren't on set a lot, you know, because we were in the scenes that were predominantly Emerald City. And then it just so happened that the following 2 weeks I was on vacation. And then all of a sudden I was there like practically every day. So then it gave me a lot of pleasure when I contacted my account executive and I was like, remember that nasty clause that you put in my contract saying that you could fire me with or without notice and with or without like any basis for it? And it was a two-way clause. So I said, well, I'm going to exercise that clause. But before I even said that, I said, you know that show Oz on HBO? And he was like, oh my God, I love that show. And I was like, good, because I just got a part and that nasty clause that you put in, I'm exercising it. I quit. Oh my God, when? And I was like, now. And that was like my birthday gift to myself. So Oz, oh my God, I'm sure I hope a lot of you guys have watched it, but it was like one of the most incredible experiences for me. And like I said, that first year I had worked a couple of days, but then season 2, I dove right into it and I was pretty much in every episode, you know, from season 2 all the way to the ending. And it was great because I got to dress like this. That was actually my mugshot on the show. And so it was pretty much like, you know, they didn't let me wear a wig because I'll never forget the first day on set. I brought my wig with me. And the hair and makeup department, they were like, no, girl, you can't wear a wig. And I was like, well, why not? They said, well, if you do, you would look too convincing. And then they would think that you're post-operative, meaning, you know, I would have had the operation. Then I would have ended up in like Orange is the New Black. I would have ended up in a women's prison. So they were like, no, trust us, do your own hair. And that's the best thing they could have ever done was allowed me to just not tell me not to wear a wig. Cause then I got recognized because girl, I've had these bangs for decades and decades. It's been my signature look since I was like 20, since I was a mere fetus. So the first 4 years we shot in the Chelsea market on 15th and 9th, and then we ended up losing that space. And then the last 2 years we were at a soundstage in Bayonne, New Jersey. But and those of you who have seen the show, it was wonderful actors. Everyone was on that show. You know, I'm going to speak about that more the next episode because I need this to be a 2-part episode. So I'm going to keep this one a little short. But it was just incredible for me to like, you know, after having had those first 2 experiences and then sort of like a little bit of a drought to then suddenly be thrown into this. And it was interesting too, because like we never knew from one year to the next if we were being picked up. So like we would shoot the season and then it was like, okay, well, hopefully we'll all see each other again. And then we would always find out at the last minute, we got picked up for another season. It wasn't until the end of season 4, we had shot the 8 episodes. And because they were losing this space, they were like, okay, everyone has a month off and then we're going to shoot 8 more. So then we thought that was it. But then, you know, fast forward 9 months later, they're like, we have a sound stage. So then we ended up shooting the 2 more seasons. But anyway, one of the most incredible experiences. And we were groundbreaking. One of the taglines was groundbreaking, innovative, because in 1997, when Oz was on the first season, it was the first and only series on a premium network on HBO. Then it was the following year that 6 Feet Under, Sex and the City, The Sopranos. But honey, we started the trend. So Anywho, so that's where I'm going to leave it at for now. So that would be 1998. And then you'll see this Friday coming up. And then 2 weeks later, you will see part 5 where I dive into it more. So, all right, guys, as always, I love that you guys are here with me. Thank you so, so much. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. And I look forward to seeing everyone soon. Love you.